All right, so we're gonna get started. We're gonna skip the warm up, and because we're starting, headphones out. Dylan, Alex, Jared, headphones out. It's good. Richie, headphones on. We're gonna start.
No.
All the way out, Dylan. Keep them out.
Oh my god, Alex, and you do not just
You
do
too, Alex. Headphones out. All right, so we are still working with inequalities. These are going to be a little bit different though. So, all the inequalities we have done so far, when we had to solve them, they were all plus or minuses. Today we're going to be looking at some multiply and divides. And they're mostly like normal, but there is a sneaky thing you got to watch out for. So, make sure you guys are following along with your notes, because your notes are worth points. You're going to turn them in whenever you take your next test, which probably won't be for a while. But still, you want to keep them. So, I have x divided by 3 is less than negative 2. And just like before, we are going to do the opposite to get that x by itself. So let's just start off with Robert. What's the opposite of this divide by 3?
You multiply it.
Yep. We are going to multiply by 3 to get this x by itself. That's a good idea, but no. This is just a divide by 3.
God.
God, mine. All the way. Thank you. Alright, we are going to times by 3 on both sides, which means divide by 3 times by 3, they're opposites, they cancel out. I have an x left over, I have a less than, and negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. And we graph these just like normal. So, but I also need to make sure when I do these, my x or my y, whatever my variable is, I always want to be on the left side. So always make sure it's on the left. Which in this one it is, so we're good. So I'm just going to make my graph real quick. So I'm going to go negative 6 in the middle. Joyceline, help me out. What is 1 bigger than negative 6?
8.
What?
Negative 7.
Oh, but be careful. It's negative, right? Negatives are backwards. Negative 7 is actually smaller than negative 6. Which means the one bigger is negative... Joyceline?
Oh, 5.
Yeah, negative 5. Be careful, negatives are backwards. They're kind of weird. Watch out for those. They're sneaky. Alright, and then I'm going to put my circle here at negative 6. Dylan, am I going to fill it in?
No.
Nope. Because we don't have the extra line. And Zoe, which way is my arrow going to go? Left or right?
Left.
Yep. Don't forget, this kind of looks like an arrow pointing left. That means our arrow needs to point left. Keep that in mind. Alright, nothing different so far. But this is where it's going to change just a little bit. So, we have negative 3x is greater than 6. And you know, I'm just going to write a little bit bigger down here. I have negative 3x is greater than 6. So when I go through, I have to get rid of this negative 3 by... times by negative 3, so what's the opposite if I'm going to get rid of it, Sophia? Thanks, Sophia and friends. You're going to divide by negative 3, right? Okay, I'm going to get an x, and what's this number going to be on the right side? What's 6 divided by negative 3? It's a negative 2, right? My sign changed, because this was a positive 6, and it changed to a negative. Alright, so... positive changed to a negative. And I'm just going to give you another quick example. What if I had a, let's say, 4 times negative 2? What would my answer be there? Negative 8, right? So my positive changed to a negative when I multiplied by negative, right? What about if I do negative 2 times negative 2? It is positive 4, right? Okay. Whenever we multiply by a negative, doesn't our sign changes, right? My positive changed to a negative. This negative changed to a positive. This positive changed to a negative. Because whenever we do that, whenever we multiply or divide by a negative, we have an opposite, right? We have the opposite sign. So, when we have inequalities, that's this greater than right here, but whenever we multiply or divide by a negative, the sign flips. We have to flip our inequality sign. Because whenever we multiply or divide by a negative, it says do the opposite.
No, I can't.
Okay, Allison.
I'm really
A
scared.
heart attack there?
I was watching him fall.
Alright. Alright.
I watched the
Hold on,
Fulton
hold on,
Center.
hold on, hold on, hold on.
So, I had a greater than symbol where it was kind of pointing over here by the number. Because I'm dividing by -3, it's got to flip. It's got to flip and go back the other way. So this is the opposite way of what it was. Because when I divide by negative, it says do the opposite. And this is the opposite of this inequality. So, when I make my inequality, I'm going to have -2 here in the middle. -1 is bigger. -3 is smaller. I'm going to make my circle at -2. And my arrow is really going to the left.
Nice.
Because this kind of looks like an arrow going left, which means this arrow has to go left. So, this is really the only kind of sneaky part today.
Wait, I'm home too.
You're excited to have one?
Yeah.
Good, I'm glad.
Ooh, you wish I get to listen to music.
As long as you guys pay attention.
Yeah, you bums.
Make me angry.
Makes me sick.
Alright, so that is kind of the sneaky part for today. Whenever we divide by a negative, our inequality, our symbol in the middle, it flips over and points the other way.
Okay, so Mr. Golke, what if, so the number 3 by itself, that would be divided, and then if it has that,
Alright, so let's look at this next one.
Alright.
You can help me out. What are we going to do, Richie?
You divide -4?
Yep, we're going to divide by -4.
Yes.
And we're going to get decimals on this, that's fine. Just plug it into decimals. So, I'm going to get a y. 3 divided by -4 is -0.75.
Nice.
Alright, and I divided by a negative, right?
Yep.
So, remember, it's only when we divide by the negative that we flip sides. So, I have this -4 here on the bottom, which means my symbol is going to flip and go the other way.
Nice.
Because I divided by the negative, so I had a flip in here. I divided by the -4, and I flipped it. Flip. I flipped my symbol.
Okay, so when you go
Yes. When you multiply or divide by a negative. Yes. And it's kind of sneaky, so that's why we're trying to do things. So, I'm just going to make my inequality real quick. I'm going to have -0.75. And you know what? It's a decimal, so I'm just going to do like one higher and one lower. Negative, well, not 1, but like 100. -0.74. -0.76, like that. That's fine.
to learn to help my education, Susie, so stop.
Are you looking up there, Alice?
Yes. I'm just fine, Mr. Golke.
Okay. You sure? Hey, look at my arrow going, Allison.
Man.
Straight ahead.
So that way
To the
right.
Arrow's
I
going
forgot my right to left.
Alright, so I'm going to put my circle at -0.75. I'm going to fill it in because I have the or equal to line. And my arrow is really pointing right because this is my answer right here. Alright, so we're going to start doing some random problems here. We're going to just do a couple random ones together. And then you guys will do some in-class problems. So nothing yet. Wherever you have space on that like back side of your paper, just do them there. So this is my first example here, and this one will be a decimal, which is fine. So let's go through. And actually, you know what? I'm just going to write it so it looks like what you'll normally see. So hang on a second.
No.
So what you're normally going to see when you do this problem, it'll look like 6x is less than or equal to -7. So we're just going to do this one together. Well, you know what? I'm going to put a line right here so it looks like a 7. There we go. I think we're on Kyle. I'm going to solve for x. What am I going to do?
Divide it.
By
6.
Yep. We're going to divide by 6 on both sides. And I'm going to get x over here. I'm going to get -1 and 1/6 is 0.
What is it?
What's 7 divided by 6? You got decimals right there. Zoe, what'd you get?
Wait, this is the vibe.
-1.
Yeah.
0.16.
Okay, negative 1.16 repeat. Okay. All right, and then on this one, Jared, did I divide by a negative? No. My answer is negative, that's fine. But I didn't divide by a negative 6, so my symbol, my inequality, does not flip. Remember, it's only when this number down here that you're dividing by or you're multiplying by, it's only when that is a negative. My answer can be negative, but this symbol down here, only when that's negative do you flip it. So when I make my graph, I'm going to go negative 1.16, negative 1.15, negative 1.17. Remember, these are all negative, so they're backwards. It's kind of annoying. I'm going to make my circle, and Alex, am I going to fill it in? Hey.
Yes, I'm done. Six.
You're a good kid.
That's not.
All right, Alex, am I going to fill in my circle?
Yeah.
Yep.
The left.
And it's going to point to the left. All right. Let's do another random one here. So just someplace else you have, you got space in your paper. And this isn't in class yet. We're still practicing. All right. Let me get some random numbers going, and then I'll rewrite this so it looks like what you'll actually see in like your homework and stuff. All right. So this would actually look like in your homework, x divided by negative 2 is less than or equal to 7. Okay? So if we are going to go through on this, Cameron, what would I do to get this x by itself? 5? Yep. You're going to multiply by negative 2 on both sides. So I multiply by negative 2, I get an x. 7 times negative 2 is negative 14. And Trayton,
Yo.
is my inequality going to flip?
Yes.
Because? Let him do it. Got this. Let him think about this. You're right, it is going to flip. You are right there.
Gosh.
So why did it flip?
Because the letters on the left side. I don't know.
That's kind of the other time it flips. What did I multiply by?
A negative.
Negative.
Multiply by a negative, right?
Yeah.
Because I multiplied by a negative, it flipped. Because I multiplied by the negative, it flipped. So it's pointing the other way. So, when I make this, I'm going to go down to negative 14. And then negative 13. Remember, negatives are backwards. They're weird. Negative 15. I'm going to put my circle here. And my arrow is really going in what direction, Richie?
Left.
What?
Left.
You said left, but you made your hand go right.
No, I said left. I went like this.
Point right, Richie.
It's left. It's left.
That's the right side.
That's more shoulder.
You're pointing on the right side with your right hand.
Just do whatever.
It's going to
I
the right,
said
Richie.
whatever. Okay.
Okay,
Look
Richie,
at
still
it.
early.
You did?
Alright,
You're right. You must be.
so it's going to the right. Okay, we're going to do another random one, but this time it is an in-class problem.
Yay, finally.
It is an in-class problem. So you're going to do this one on your own, and then you are going to check with your partner or somebody sitting by you. See if you get the same answer.
How do you know if it's multiplier or divided?
Well, let me write it so it looks a little nicer, and then you can see. So this one should really look like when you see this in your homework, this one will look like x divided by negative 5 is greater than 8. Like that.
What the heck is Pinterest?
You ever know what Pinterest is?
No, I do not. I see
That's
it all
like
the time.
a mom place. I go on there all the time.
It's not really a mom place anymore.
I see a lot of moms go on there.
Yeah. That's how it started, but that's not what it is anymore. My wife goes on there and finds memes.
Your wife goes on there to find memes.
Yep.
I go on Reddit to go find
What's that, Drayton?
memes.
phone trading. Trying to make sure my mom isn't texting me.
Well, too late. -5.
Nah, because I need my headphones.
Time.
Oh my god.
Got this whole time
What are you reading?
Or from a friend
You
or
have to improvise. You have to go to Mission Market and steal it from my desk.
Okay, I'm done with
No,
your
we're not
movie.
criminals.
I knew the answers for the warm-up.
I knew the answers. I just had to look at it. Answer it.
I don't have any pencils or anything, man. You're gonna have to figure something out, because I'm out.
I took his business.
Alright, I'll give you another 30 seconds, and then somebody's gonna do this on the board for us.
I want to do it.
We'll see
Oh,
what
gee.
Bro, I only did it once.
I called not it.
Do you hate us or something?
Oh yeah, totes.
Is it me?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's 60. Is it?
Go back to the
Maybe. Solid maybe.
I can't get that song out of my head.
Alright, about another 15 seconds or so on your own. Hey.
What? I can do it. What?
What are you eating?
I'm not eating. I'm closing my thing. What? Oh, was this? No, right there. No.
Don't be a baby, give it away.
Wait.
You'll get them most of you back later.
I don't
No. Go.
I'm messing with you.
Nah,
Tell you what, you'll get 1 year back later.
Susie said
One whole year
we'll
back.
get some.
Alright, Allison.
What a bum.
Alright, Allison's gonna do this on the board for us. Hey! No headphones. Not during the lesson.
Why you didn't take
Already
credit?
once.
You gave me one.
Because I already
warning.
warned you once at the beginning of class. I haven't warned her yet. Alright, Allison's doing this one on the board for us. And so she multiplied by... That looks like x is less than negative how?
No, it's
Where's the E? There's an E in that.
Okay, so she multiplied by -5 and she got -40.
I'll stop laughing at that funny.
That's good. That's good.
Less than negative.
Alright, so we get x is less than -40.
Oh, God.
And because we multiplied by -5, we flip our symbol. So it's actually going left instead of right. So our circle is going to the left.
Okay.
Oh.
I did it.
I didn't know math.
Ho.
That's funny.
Thank you.
I don't know about it.
Alright.
Every time you. Okay, this is easy.
Alright, let's do
Let's
let's do one more. We're actually gonna do 2 more.
It's only
What? Let me do one.
It's only 28.
Go, keep,
Calm
please.
down.
What's wrong with finishing your homework in class?
Alright, so this problem would look like
So what
2x
if someone else wants to
is
finish
greater
their homework
than -8. Alright, next in class problem is on the board. I wrote it like what it'll look like in your actual homework once you do it. So take a minute or 2, do it on your own, then check with your partner, see if you get the same answer. You okay back there, Alex?
Are you recording this?
Yeah.
Alright, just imagine like somebody comes across as like, whose classroom is this? Can't control their own children.
Nobody can control you guys.
I showed my mom the video so she knows what we're learning, and she's like, "What the hell do you guys do in your class?" I'm like, a lot of things.
Like with what people were doing or
Yeah.
what we're actually learning?
Ooh, I don't know. She was like, "Alright, so I don't understand. I understand what you guys are learning, kinda, not really, but like, why do you guys talk so much? Like, Cause, we just do.
Actually, you guys are one of my quieter classes.
Oh, that's cool.
You guys usually do pretty good. Usually.
Usually.
They
Hey,
should try
boy,
they
he
though.
showed up. Last
Oh,
one was
sorry.
fine. Last quarter.
Usually.
Yeah, at least we can get along a month.
No, you guys are all pretty good. Mostly. You got your moments. You know, whenever Allison gets freaked out by a chair.
That's twice that happened.
I kind of wish we were recording that video so we could watch you jump.
I got recording.
Watch
In
it
slow motion.
That was fun.
Honestly, people record me at the right times, and they never record me at the wrong times.
Wait, Volky, you guys show me that video when Chloe jumped through the net. Cause there was a spider net.
Yeah, that's on our Facebook
You
page.
guys show me
At the
that.
river, yeah. That's on the Facebook page on the river trip. It's almost at the very end.
Jump through the what?
Yeah, she.
Oh, we're
It
doing
was when you guys were at the river, and they did the net thing on the grass, and Chloe was looking up to see, and there was a huge spider, and so she had to throw the net.
No, I sweeped it across the grass, and she grabbed the net from me, and she saw a spider and freaked out, and
Yeah.
I thought Chloe likes spiders.
Nope.
spiders.
All right, 30 more seconds on this problem.
Who the frick likes spiders?
30 more.
They have too many legs. They have a lot of eyeballs. Like, really, they don't have a butt.
Two eyeballs.
I don't know why. That's weird. Except ants. Am I the only one who like really ants are fighting out?
You're the only one who likes ants.
I was like,
I've eaten them.
no. I ate wood.
Did you divide?
I used to buy. They're like really
Dude,
sweet.
wood is like,
I used to like
Well, we're doing lemon test.
like desert, you take like
question.
jump into like taking towards
Nine to the
just like a snack. Desert is a
Katie answered.
Desert is a piece of
All right, so we're gonna do this one on the board, and you're gonna have.
Me?
Hey, Zoe.
Oh my.
Oh my god.
Oh, can I do the last one?
All right, so Zoe's gonna do this one on the board for us. Follow along, see if she gets the same answer as you. So she's gonna divide by 2 on both sides, and we're gonna get x, and we're gonna get greater than -4. So, on this problem, did we divide by a -2? No, so we don't flip. Remember, only flip when you divide by a negative. We didn't divide by a negative, so it doesn't flip. Pretty good. Allison, don't be creepy.
A little too late.
You know when you listen to that song, it actually kind of is creepy. You
Yes,
kinda
that's the whole point.
No!
Some creepy stalker guy.
Well, it's weird. Oh,
Alright, nice
yeah,
job.
I can't give you spoilers, but when you watch Stranger Things, we can talk
Oh,
about
let's
it.
go with
That's
Thank you for
It will
Alright.
only take you 9 hours of
nice
the
job.
day.
So our arrow's going on the right there. Morning, Quanah.
Trimmed up cookie.
Yep.
That Quana.
All right, we are gonna do one last problem. This one's gonna be extra sneaky. It's gonna be extra sneaky. So it's gonna be our fun problem.
My fun problem is
Everything about this is fun.
Nothing about it.
Everything about this is fun. All right, give me just a second. Yep, this is gonna be your last in-class problem. Let me get some random numbers going here, and then I'll rewrite this like you'll actually see it in your homework.
Oh yeah, that's really tricky. Did you switch that?
Oh yeah, it's super tricky.
All right, so I'm getting 1 is greater than or equal to. All
If
right.
I were to go into
That's like a-
American Idol, would you guys support me?
No.
Me neither.
All right, so last in-class problem. 1 is greater than or equal to x divided by -8. This one's kind of sneaky. It's a little extra sneaky, actually. So you guys are just gonna help me with this one, I think.
I'm gonna go to Miss Van Foss and get a combo.
Okay. Is that one just completely dead? All right. Please plug it in. And put it back.
Everyone too.
No, bro, no, bro.
So I'll give you about another minute and a half, maybe.
I could do that too easy.
I know, I see you. Take them away.
Yeah, you can take my soul, but you gotta take my headphones. That's stupid.
Just give it to me.
Okay.
I take them both.
It's not worth it.
That way. Remember, no headphones during the lesson, like at all. Even if you're done, sit tight.
I don't know.
Well, so let's listen to music. Better you pay
What
attention.
I don't wanna do.
Go, kid, I figured out something.
Why are you yelling at me?
I can make all equal negative 5.5 or 5
I got that too.
I'm gonna fail this.
She's like, okay, I spell my name and I can make them all equal something. All the letters. You didn't know that.
I didn't know that until now.
All right, 30 more seconds, then you guys are gonna help me out with this.
My God, Ali, you got that song.
Since this one is extra
This
sneaky.
song's been stuck in my head since last week. No, 2 weeks ago actually.
I was ready to play basketball yesterday, Connor. I was ready to play basketball yesterday.
Wait, is it only Tuesday?
It is.
As a little kid.
I woke up and I thought it was Wednesday. I was like, just 2 more this week. I was like, no.
Wait, do you still have it? No, we do.
It's Veterans Day.
Okay. Let me do it.
Wait, when's Veterans Day?
Well, it's like the 11th, that's Saturday. So we're having, everybody gets Friday off, including PHS. Alright, so we're going to get started and go through this. So Robert, help me out. What's the first thing I'm going to do?
You're gonna multiply by -8.
Yep. We're going to multiply by -8 on both sides.
You know what?
Okay. I'm going to get -8. I'm going to get an X. And then help me out with the next part. Joyceline, is my symbol going to flip?
Yes.
Because? You're right. It is going to flip.
That's funny.
I think it's good.
Yeah. Why is it going to flip? I'll give you a hint. What did we multiply by?
Divide.
Yeah, we got rid of that divide, right? By multiplying by what number? What did we multiply by right there?
8.
Not just 8 though. What's in front of that 8? Or what? -8, right? Whenever we multiply by a negative, we flip sides. Alright, but we have one more thing before we graph this. On this one, Sophia, what am I going to do? What else do I need to do before I graph this? Because we're right here right now. We got to do something before we graph it. Yeah, the purple part. We got to flip it. Because my X, is my X on the left side?
No.
No, it's not on the left side, but I want it on the left side. So I'm going to flip X, -8, which means when I flip it, my inequality, it's got to flip back. Right now it's pointing at -8. It's got to stay pointing at -8. So, how many times did it flip in this problem? 3. No, twice. It flipped twice. This was a double flip. Double flipper.
God.
It flipped when I multiplied by -8, and it flipped when I put my X on the left side. So when I graph this, I'm going to go -8, -7, -9, circle and fill it in, and my arrow is really going to the right. So this was a double flip. Double flipper.
Gosh, math, why does math have to be so complicated?
It's got to
It's not
be
as funny.
sneaky. Because you're learning.
Like, who
We're
came up
learning
with
some
this? Like,
numbers.
oh, I'm gonna have this many
Mostly
numbers
old Greek
instead.
people.
Who?
Mostly old Greek people. Some Italian. A lot of old Greek guys.
Are you Italian?
No.
Are you German?
No.
We already know that.
Alright, that is it for today. So, start on your exit ticket if you haven't done that yet.
Yeah, I'm a quarter.
I will turn on Socrative in just a second, and then you guys have the rest of class to work on your practice work.